The tale of Bluebeard is one of the darkest in the world of fairy tales. Long before King Henry VIII, it warned of a wealthy husband who gave his wives the key to a forbidden room and punished them when they uncovered the truth within. For centuries, readers and storytellers have drawn uneasy comparisons between Bluebeard and England's Redbeard, King Henry VIII. His 6 wives stepped into marriage with hope, only to find betrayal, sorrow, or death behind the door. What follows is a retelling of Bluebeard's story, but told through history, a fairy tale entwined with truth, where each queen unlocks her own fate in the shadow of a king whose legacy was written not only in palaces and crowns, but in the lives of the women bound to him. Once upon a time, there was a young king named Henry. He was everything a king should be: handsome, gallant, athletic, chivalrous. He inherited a wealthy kingdom, and he wasted no time spending it on palaces, silks and velvets, feasts, and tournaments. Beloved by his court, they called him Redbeard, for he was newly a man, his beard shining as bright red as his hair. In his favorite palace, it was whispered there was a hidden chamber, a vast room, locked with a key that only Henry possessed. Some said it held treasures, others whispered of secrets. But Henry hid its whereabouts and the key. It was a place only accessible to him. One day, as he looked upon the empty room, he saw it anew, a place to fill, a place to leave his legacy. I am but a young king, but I already see what my kingdom needs. It needs a queen and heirs, sons to carry on my line. And with each queen, he turned his key, and with each queen, the room grew heavier. He fell in love with Katherine of Aragon, a Spanish princess of beauty and royal blood. She was everything a queen should be: devout, graceful, steadfast. Together, Henry and Katherine seemed the perfect match. But behind palace doors, sorrow grew. Child after child was lost. Only one daughter survived. Henry paced the halls at night, haunted by the emptiness of that secret chamber. For 20 years, Katherine stood beside him. She hoped to unlock the door to stability and sons, but Henry's patience withered, his love too. And when Anne Boleyn entered court, clever and radiant, Henry turned his heart elsewhere. Loyal Katherine was set aside, separated from her daughter, left in lonely shame until she died far from the crown she had once worn. Henry placed her rosary beads within the secret chamber, and so the king's secret room grew heavier. Anne Boleyn, as witty as she was ambitious, dreamt of unlocking the door to power and queenship. She refused to just be a mistress. For years, she kept Henry waiting, until at last, he tore England apart just to make her his queen. Anne was triumphant, and soon with child, she carried the hope of a son. To Henry's torment, she gave birth to a daughter. When the years brought only disappointment, Henry's gaze grew dark. Soon, whispers of treason and betrayal filled the air. Anne was accused, dragged to the tower, and her head fell beneath the sword. Henry placed her jeweled bead necklace within the chamber, crimson-stained, and so the king's secret room grew heavier. Next was Jane Seymour, gentle and quiet. She promised Henry his dream restored. She hoped to unlock the door to an heir, and indeed, she bore him a son at last. But the birthbed became her deathbed. She, too, paid with her life to fulfill the king's longing. Henry wept for her even as he locked her memory away. Henry placed a blood-stained cradle in the chamber, and so the king's secret room grew heavier. One son was not enough for Henry, so from far across the sea, Anne of Cleves was brought to him. She dreamt of unlocking the door to respect at the English court and honor for her family. But when she arrived, he found her not to his taste. Henry was aging, impatient, and merciless in his judgments. Yet Anne knew of Redbeard's history. She would not become a casualty. Rather than resist, she agreed to step aside. She accepted riches, estates, and the title of the king's beloved sister. Unlike the others, she walked away with her head held high, the door closing behind her, before her relic could be placed inside. Henry placed their torn annulment parchment within the chamber. And so the king's secret room grew heavier. Then came Katherine Howard, so young, lively, full of charm. She longed not for crowns or jewels, but to unlock the door to true love. She brought joy to the aging king, but her heart belonged elsewhere. She longed for romance, not the weary weight of Henry's crown. When her secret love was uncovered, Henry's wrath was swift. Her head fell upon the block as swiftly as Anne's before her. Henry placed her broken heart-shaped locket in the chamber, spattered red, and so the king's secret room grew heavier. At last came Katherine Parr, learned and wise. She cared for Henry, though her heart had once belonged to another. She used her place to write, to counsel, to gently guide the king when she could. But Henry's temper was never far. When he thought her influence too bold, he tested her with traps of loyalty. She only survived through wit and caution. But one day, Henry entrusted her with his keys. He warned her never to use the one that opened the secret chamber. But curiosity is stronger than caution. With the king away, Katherine entered. What she found chilled her blood. The chamber was no treasury. It was a hall of ghosts. The rosary of Catherine of Aragon, the necklace of Anne Boleyn, the cradle of Jane Seymour, the treaty of Anne of Cleves, the locket of Katherine Howard, and there waiting was a prayer book with Katherine Parr's name half written upon its cover. She dropped the keys in horror. They fell into a pool of blood that seemed to rise from the stones themselves. No scrubbing could erase it. When Henry returned, she presented him with a new key, a perfect copy, and for a time, she was safe. But whispers betrayed her secret, and Henry's rage boiled. He plotted her destruction. Yet before he could add her relic to the chamber, his own body failed him. Katherine Parr had bought what no queen before her could: time. Henry, called Redbeard, died. Katherine lived. She married again and survived the monster's tale. And the chamber door closed forever. The tale of Bluebeard warned of power, secrecy, and the peril of women bound to dangerous men. For Henry's 6 wives, the fairy tale became history, and with each queen, the king's secret room grew heavier, until the king himself was locked inside, behind a door no key could open. Don't forget to like and subscribe. That means everything to a new channel like this one.